Okay, so I'm trying an experiment where I want to start a podcast, but I want like a dialogue. And so I'm going to try to use AI to be my co host. Um, so AI has done like an outline for me. And apparently, so the one I'm using, ChatGPT, is saying that it doesn't have the capacity to like synthesize a voice for me right now. But I'm sure I could Google it and figure it out, but I wanted to kind of jump in while I was excited. Um, okay, so I didn't plan to do this right this second, but I kind of just felt inspired to do it. Um, and I wanted to just like leap in and try it. It's telling me to pause and breathe, which I love. Um, because I'm nervous, because excitement and nerves are the same thing. I have no idea how good the audio is right now either. My room isn't clean, and I haven't like showered or anything. I've literally like rolled out of bed. Um, so so it's saying so one of the things I want to be able to use the co-host for is to like give me some direction or ask questions that like an audience would naturally ask so that I can answer them. So it's asking me like, why now? And I want to like leap in. I want to stop stopping myself. And there's a mantra that I've been trying to work on, which is done is better than perfect. And so I just want to leap. Um, kind of did that. Yeah. So okay. So I identify as like ADHD, neurospicy, and I only got diagnosed. So I'm 43. I got diagnosed when I was 37, I think. So 6 years ago, and it was a really like life-changing moment in that um, I've always been extremely self-critical, and there have been certain things about myself that I felt were character flaws um, that I needed to fix. And when I uh, was hinted at that I might have ADHD, I started, doing a deep dive, a hyper focus, as ADHDers do, and I started seeing that like basically like every single thing that I was trying to fix about myself could be explained or understood through ADHD. And so it was like, well, maybe I haven't been able to overcome these factors, not because I haven't tried hard enough, or uh, maybe it's because I haven't been using the right strategies and the right, kind of like if you're trying to force a fish to walk on land, um, number one, like if you judge it by its ability to swim in a pond instead, it's going to look like an amazing genius and a beautiful artist. If you're judging it by its ability to walk on land, yeah, you're going to give it harsh criticism. Um, and number two, like, maybe instead of just being like, well, dude, just be a fish that walks. Like, why haven't you done this yet? Everyone else is doing it. Meanwhile, everyone else is a human being with legs. Um, Instead of being like so hung up on the fact of like, why haven't you done it yet? Everyone else seems to be able to do it naturally. You'd be like, oh, I can't do it naturally because I'm a fish. And so I need to look for different strategies, which doesn't mean I can't do it. It just means I need different strategies. But also a little bit of self reflection of like, do do I need to walk on land? Can I instead learn how to flourish in the pond? Or can I do both? Can I simultaneously learn how to flourish swimming in the pond while also sometimes trying to keep walking on land and getting better at that? So that's my analogy for that. And so like one of the reasons I wanted to do a podcast YouTube channel is because I feel like what I experience, lots of people experience. Um, not necessarily, no one else is having the exact same set of experiences that I'm having, but lots of people can relate to at least one of the experiences that I've had, if not many. And I think as human beings, we're supposed to thrive by living in a community because we can mirror to each other what we're going through. And so it's the whole like you can't see the forest through the trees. So, like, if I'm in something, it's hard to objectively see the way out of, like, say, like a maze. It's hard to objectively see the way out of a maze when I'm in the maze. But if a friend of mine is in the exact same maze and we can mirror them to each other, then we could help each other navigate out of the maze. And or if we're like, wait, we have the same maze, and she's like, hey, like I already turned down that left thing and I found a lion, and I was like, whoa. So if I know, if I've kind of compared some notes and we figured out like our mazes seem to be the same, um, probably I don't need to also go down that path and see that there's a lion there. I can probably trust that there's a lion down there. And if you're like, you know what, I went down this pathway and I found like some delicious lunch, I could be like, I'm hungry. Maybe I'll go down that pathway and get some lunch right now because I'm probably going to be in this maze for a while. Um, so I'm so excited. I'm sure I'm mixing up a million analogies, but again, done is better than perfect. And so I want to jump in and kind of just get some of this out there. And refine it later. Um, so I also, okay, so I've been on this like extra spiritual path for the last 3 years. And basically, like I had some health issues, and I was like, you know what, life's too short not to try to follow my joy. And I feel like my joy lies in trying to figure out like what my soul wants to do. And one of the things my soul wants to do is like communicate. Because I've often said if I could get paid to talk, I'd be a wealthy woman. Because even though I'm shy, talking comes very easily to me. And I generally find that I really like words. And so, as an artist soul, one of my mediums I can paint with is words. And so, and I think, so as I've been on the spiritual journey, I've gotten a lot of signs that resonate that also, just like the frequency of my voice or the tone of my voice um, can have a healing capacity for people. So it's not just the substance of what I say, but also the package it comes in. Um, and so I began feeling like it was really important to put this out there into the world, so that whoever might need it could potentially find it. And that, there are some, so I call like the human stuff 3D, I call the spiritual stuff 5D. And so there are, because I believe we are like spiritual beings having a human experience. And that doesn't mean like there's a balance to it, right? So the spiritual being is here to have a spiritual experience or a human experience, learn how to navigate things in a human body, and learn how to nourish and flourish within the constraints of the human experience. Because there's things that constrain the human experience. For example, we live in a human body that still needs to be fed and still needs to sleep and has some like physical needs, and we have a construct of hours in a day. And so within that construct, it's like a very specific environment that Okay, so sorry, so come back to where I was. Um, because we have this construct of the 3D, we're not meant to fight against it. We're just meant to acknowledge it and try to work with it, right? And so, as a human being, I can only have a limited number of physical interactions with other human beings in a day. But we have technology where I have the capacity to record these things, and then there's an infinite reach that it could have for people. One, it can live infinitely, so like my words are no longer limited to just this moment in time, but they can live in eternity, and be accessed in eternity. But also too, like it can be relived by one person multiple times or multiple people. And so instead of me just having one conversation with one person, or having, a person could have like a conference, but this gives the ability for it to reach globally and be timeless. So like someone could access it today, someone can access it a year from now, whenever they're ready to access it. And so I think it's important to encapsulate what I have learned so far and what I'm going to continue to learn, in this capacity. And my goal is to interact with other people, others, and discuss what they've learned, because I've learned a ton, but I know that is a grain of sand in the world of knowledge, and I would like to continue to learn. I'm excited to continue to learn from others as well. So, like, I want to be here to teach, but I also want to be here to learn. And so there's sort of like 3 C's that I see being the foundation of this channel. My capacity to be a coach for others, my ability to communicate, and my ability to connect others. So I think that those 3 C's are, where those meet, where the hybrid is of those 3 things is the sweet spot of my channel. So speaking of hybrids, I'm really into trying to bring the best of multiple worlds together. So, we live in this magical 3D world right now where so much is happening and so much is possible still. And I think the next level is bringing things together that weren't together before. So let's use an analogy of color, right? There's primary colors. There's 3 primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. And then when you mix yellow and blue, you get green. When you mix yellow and red, you get orange. And when you mix blue and red, you get purple. So those are the secondary colors, right? And then when you introduce white and black, you can get infinite possibilities of what can be brought in. You can get a reddish orange. You can get with a hint of yellow. You know what I mean? So anyways, just meaning to say that I like bringing things together. So I very much have a logical brain that I've developed, but I also had an instinct for emotional knowledge, and spiritual. So I feel like when we can bring, like logic and emotion and intuition together, we have a really new magical hybrid of something that can be used to help create more joy in this world and more betterness in this world. So yeah, so that's why the channel is here, so that I can record these thoughts, record these things. I've also sort of discovered over the last few years that when I have conversations with people, that a couple things happen that I noticed. One, I feel like it's a form of meditation. 2, I feel like I channel knowledge that I didn't have before. So I feel like I'm kind of like a radio station for knowledge from the universe to come through. Because sometimes, you know, people will say something and then I will kind of, you know, like summarize or pinpoint an issue or have a solution or a suggestion or words or whatever. And it's almost like I'm literally learning them as I'm saying them too. Like I'll be like, ooh, like this is, I'll be like, write this down for me as well. And so I think it's really common for the people in the spiritual realm who dabble with that, who like channel, like they're like, I don't have an awareness necessarily of what I'm saying either, right? Because you're just sort of you're the radio, you're the puppet for the information. So recording it gives me the opportunity to review it and re-listen and absorb it on another level for myself. I also just really love talking to people. I love learning about people. I find people fascinating. I find the human experience fascinating. I thrive on that stuff. And there's so many like amazingly interesting people that exist in this world that I'm aware of, that I would love to be able to connect with. So I'm hoping this will give me an opportunity to put that out there and see if any of them would be interested in having a conversation with me and seeing where it goes. And also, I'm excited for the new people I get to learn about that exist, because oh my gosh, there's so many. Like it's like that. There's what, 7 billion people in this world right now, maybe 8 billion. Like that's just like my brain can't even fathom how many people that is. And obviously, in this current version of the world, I cannot interact with all of them with my 3D constructs, right? But I'm excited to interact with the ones that I am meant to expand my world and learn and to resonate with people that I resonate with and connect with and have that new village, new community, new tribe. So yeah, so growing up with the ADHD, one of the, let's call it side effects, is that, you know, we're a fish trying to live in a human world. And so we experience a lot of negative feedback, especially in the early years, for just being who we are, because it appears that we are being defiant or disobedient when we don't do something or we do things. One of my favorite YouTube personalities is Isotero, and she says stuff like that and then like giggles about it, and like it's one of the things that makes her so like endearing to me. But anyways, I had to, it just like played out in my head and I had to go there. But yeah, so something that, so we get a lot of negative feedback. So one, we tend to become very, very self-critical, over analytical, sometimes like paralyzed by the over analysis. And we're, you know, we kind of strive for like some perfection. And I think some of that too comes from the, I feel like we have a greater ability to see things from like a bird's eye view. And so it kind of breeds this desire to create perfection in our brains and pre-predict and analyze every possible scenario for how we're going to do something before we do it. And I think there's some huge value in that, but it's also, again, balance, right? So balance of, we can be stuck and paralyzed by it too, because true perfection, it like cannot exist, or like is a constant moving target, right? And so it's like, well, what's the best version of this that can give me value right now? And so that is all to come full circle into saying, I just wanted to dive in and do this and do a practice one. And I think I'm going to potentially leap and just post this even, because one, I think it'll be a fun way to encapsulate the journey from the very beginning kind of thing, and show like how things don't need to be instantly polished to exist in the world. That there's a value to just beginning, and we can just begin, and then we can polish, and we can revamp, and we can pivot until we get closer and closer to what we're looking for. What, you know, because it's like it's a process of self-discovery. You can't sometimes know further than a few feet ahead of you what you're looking for, right? You kind of got to go through it to continue to learn and polish it and make it better. So yeah, so as of right now, this is potentially 21 minutes of a little bit of rambling, but it is the diamond in the rough of what I want to start with, and what I want to create, and what I want to exist in this world. So I think that's important, and it's going to be fun to look back at this inaugural pilot episode and see what little pieces already existed that will continue to remain, and to be able to, you know, see how far I'm going to go and how far I'll come when I can look back. So I think I'm going to sign off here. I mentioned numbers, and we're running up on 22 minutes, so I'm going to stop now. And I didn't even use my co-host enough, so we're going to try that one again. Bye.